Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, I'm so excited to celebrate with you today, Kari Samuels. Now, Kari and I actually have a connection going back years, a little bit here and there, interactions on social media, and I think that's why her name was just so remarkably familiar to me. Also, she has that kind of name that, people remember. But when she reached out and wanted to teach numerology and astrology together, I knew that there were going to be so many students who are going to love this course. And I think you're going to see why. I think she's an amazing teacher, what we learn here today. But yes, Kari is part of the January 2024 speaker series. And you've got just a little bit of time left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, to learn from Kari and these other incredible teachers. But yeah, today we're going to have fun. I was like, Kari, we got to start the camera because our energy was just flowing so good. You're about to see that and learn numerology and so much more. So, Kari, thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad we finally get to connect in real life-ish.
Right. Well, as real life-ish as it's going to be, especially, I mean, come on, Pluto is going into Aquarius.
Yeah.
We don't want to admit it, but yeah, I mean, as much as we were online with Neptune and Aquarius kind of put us all online, right? That was the proliferation of social media.
Yeah.
Pluto and Aquarius, it's like we are diving into it.
Oh yeah, and I want to be ahead of the curve this time.
There you go.
Because when
That's
it came
why
to
you're here.
computers, I was not. So I'm like, I'm ahead.
But you were saying that you've got all this energy in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury and Libra in the first house. So you've already got all this mercurial energy. I mean,
so much.
You're natural.
Thank you. Well, I was also telling you my sun is conjunct Uranus at the critical 29 degrees. It's conjunct, like right there. And so obviously I want to be ahead with this one. So catch me in my flying car. I don't know.
Obviously. Okay. So, wow. Oh my goodness. So you are a Uranus in Virgo?
Yeah.
That's amazing because I am a Uranus in Scorpio, and I was sure that you were a Uranus in Scorpio. So you're doing something right. You're obviously working with the Uranian energy very well.
Thank you. I'm assuming you're talking about something generational there.
Exactly. Yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that she looks young. She looks amazing. She looks vital and alive and embracing life. That's right.
Thank you. Living life well. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Especially with Sun conjunct Uranus like that. And so I'm sure your brilliance will shine through in this moment. Yeah. And so, Kari, tell me about how and why and where and what the connection between numerology and astrology is for you.
Well, it's funny we're talking about Sun conjunct Uranus because everything I do, including like the children's books I wrote and just everything I've been writing, even before I realized that I was a spiritual teacher in any way, was all about being an individual, always about being your unique self. And I feel like as a society, as a culture, we're taught to be just one thing. And numerology especially even is more fun for me with this than astrology, because astrology can be so complex and hard to understand. And numerology is like for the people. Again, that's a Uranian thing. It's like you don't need to know your birth time. You don't need to know like where you're born. You can actually look at a name because the letters of your name are associated with numbers. And so it's a very Aquarian kind of sister science to astrology, numerology is. And yet they're both teaching you your unique way of approaching the world, your unique way that you process energy, your unique purpose in life. And so when you understand your numbers, or even looking at your name, because every letter of your name is divined before you're born, it's not an accident. Your name is not an accident. Your birthday is planned as part of everything. So numerology helps you understand your unique way of approaching the world, and it helps you understand the people in your life in their unique way, in a way that is very easy. The thing is, Nadiya, numbers are everywhere, and planets aren't like everywhere in our everyday life, like that we see. But if you look at numbers, they actually define your place in the world, because longitude and latitude are numbers. Your birth date is a number. The time you're born is a number. When you're giving an identity, like a social security, it's a number. Numbers literally define your place in the world, your house number. Everything in our identity is a number. So when you get acquainted with numbers, which is something I'd like to do with everyone today, 1 through 9 and 0, like you have this vocabulary of defining everything in your life. It's just like an incredible gift that we have.
I think that you might be aware in South Asian culture, the numerology of a name is a really big deal. Like we do emphasize that quite a bit. And something that not a lot of people know about me is that my parents legally changed my name a few times in the first year of my birth, the first year of my life. And there were different reasons for it. Like basically in South Asian culture, we say, you know, when you have a baby and you give it a name, you want to pay attention and watch like what's happening. Is the kid getting sick a lot? Are they cranky or what? Because that can indicate that the name isn't a good fit for that child.
Wow.
But for me, there were like these different layers of it that played out at different times. And this is again, just the first year of my life, where my grandmother gave me one name, and then everybody who heard it was freaking out afterwards, like, what the hell is this name? It's not a good name. Then they changed it to something else legally. And then I was getting sick. Okay, I'm like 2 months old at this point. I'm getting sick. Then they change it again. And then it was finally Nadiya that they landed on, because my mom liked the gymnast, Nadiya Comaneci. And she was like, okay, you guys are playing around. This is silly. We're just calling her Nadiya. Like that's her name now. That's it.
Different spelling than the gymnast. But, and here's the thing. You have the Y in your name. And so like, even with numbers and letters, we look at the sacred geometry, and the Y is in L's. You don't have an L, but you have that Y, which is like a dowsing rod. It's like an antenna that's very much fine tuning to energy around you. The Y is very spiritual and psychic that way in sacred geometry. And of course, always questioning why, which goes well with your Sagittarius moon, right?
Yes, exactly. Oh, wow. That's really interesting, because even that, like the spelling was like changed at some point as well for the numerological benefit. So
wow.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
It is interesting. And you're so lucky that your parents were like
flowing with it. Yeah. 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 I mean, I always thought of it as a sign that I was an old soul. Like I'd lived many lives and maybe they knew me over many lives. And I mean, that's the sense I kind of made of it, was that it was kind of like, you know, trying on different outfits to see, okay, what's this life going to be about? What do I need to be called in this life? But that there was already that familiarity or something. That's just personally what I always felt about it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know many people who can say that their name was legally changed like 4 times in the first year.
Parents were so tuned into you that way that they would do this. I mean, that's really incredible. So I have a question. Was your name at birth, did it have an A as the first vowel as well?
The name at birth was Sabiha.
So it did have. So it was an SA name. So
yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So we both have our last names as S, with the S as the first letter and A as the first vowel. So both the S and the A are one in numerology. And so you have a destiny to be very independent, self-motivated, and entrepreneurial, which is very much a one thing. So, you know, the A's in the vowels are very important, because the vowels are like the soul of a language, you know?
What a
So your
beautiful way
first
to put it.
vowel, I knew it had to be an A, but both letters were ones, because you have the soul of someone who's very independent and self-reliant and likes to be innovative, which is the first letter of our alphabet. So of course.
Vowels are the soul of a language. Is that what
Yeah.
you just said? That is
Yeah.
so beautiful. I never thought of it that way. How can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, in numerology, it's like the vowels are like looking at a moon sign. There's the emotional, when we come up with the numbers that are about your emotion, the life within you, we look at the vowels. We add all the vowels together. And we also look at the first vowel as like the way you anchor yourself into the world, right? So the vowels, and if you look at languages too, the more expressive languages, and Shakespeare uses a lot of vowels, right? They're very, for Muse of Fire, like very expressive vowels, like opera. Even the word opera has like 3 vowels in it, right? So it's like, and consonants like bring shape to things, right? So the consonants are what build the containers. They're very like Saturnian that way. So it's like the vowels, you look at the vowels to see the soul, the energy that is breathing life into this. So it's very much like the moon. Like you look at the heart of something by looking at the vowel. At least I do, because I'm obsessed. But that's the thing. Once you start looking at letters and numbers, it changes the world around you. Everything makes sense. Here's something with letters, right? So like vowels, talking about vowels. In numerology, every letter is assigned a number based on like where it fits 1 through 9. The letters D, M, V are 4 in numerology, which is all about structure and is very Saturnian, like containers and that kind of thing. Like you look at even all the letters in our alphabet and they completely make sense with the numerology. And like how when they created the Department of Motor Vehicles in the United States, did they know that those were all 4s? You know what I mean? Like, how does this happen? You talk about synchronicity, right?
Incredible.
It's a synchronicity.
But just as a side note, from what I understand, and I don't know a whole lot about this, but what some astrologers and other occult oriented, esoteric arts oriented people have told me is that the founders of the US were these very mystical people, and you can see like astrological symbols in certain really important locations. So maybe they didn't, maybe they did.
That's true. That's true. Because they were Masons, and that whole like eyeball and the pyramids on our dollars. Yeah, they were Masons, and I think they were into Rosicrucian, which is sort of like, that kind of thing. So yeah, they probably did. They probably did. I don't think they saw a Pluto return coming quite the way it's happening, but yeah, they were thinking something.
Yeah, because Pluto was not discovered yet at that point. I think at the discovery or the founding of the US as an independent nation, it was Uranus that was very recently, right around that time, officially discovered, quote unquote.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah, well, I mean, look, the discovery of Uranus is such a perfect symbol for the United States, like something just completely different, and it's all oriented around the individual rights. What? Sorry?
We're all about freedom here.
Exactly. Oh my, that's it. It's all about freedom.
Yeah.
And you know about that you've got Uranus conjunct your sun. Now, I have Uranus square my sun. So all these things, I mean, when you talk about, entrepreneurial and independent and all of that, I just see it in so many ways. Like you're just affirming it with the numerology, but I see it in my chart too. Yeah, it's a very strong Uranian signature on the country itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that I mean, I like that energy. I like all the planets. I love Saturn. I mean, like I love them all.
I love that you love them all. You seem like a very loving person. Okay. Let's give people something they can use. I don't know what it is about Kari. I think I'm just so happy and so in the moment that I've been like mixing up my words a little bit. So let me try and slow myself down. I think we're having a lot of fun. Yeah. So let's give people something they can use. And what can they use with numerology, let's say? I mean, you've said so many fascinating things. Yeah, please.
To see there's a few things that I was thinking that we can share. There's a personal year number, kind of like every year has the number based on like 2024. It's going to be an 8 universal year. But within that, there's a personal year. Or we can do like life path numbers, or your actual day you're born, like has their gifts in it, the number of the day, like if you're born on the 22nd of a month, the 22, like what would you like to do, Nadiya?
Let's do that because it involves less math. And so we're not asking people to tax themselves with math too much, with calculations. Let's just look at the day. Like, for example, I'm born on the 27th of January. So 27 would be my number that we're looking at, right?
Oh, by the way, happy almost birthday.
Thank you. I do love my birthday very much. And I always travel for my birthday. Some astrologers like to do this for the, what's called the solar return. And so you really want that chart to be as good as possible.
To be marked,
as much as possible. I mean, look, Pluto is going to be so close to my sun anyways. I don't know if it's going to matter. I'm pretty sure the universe has its own plan. I can try and say, no, I'm going to be where I need to be. So I get the chart that I wanted. And then the universe is going to come along and be like, oh, here you go. Rebirth where you didn't think you needed it.
From what I know of you, I think you'll be wherever that person whose concert you fought. What's that concert?
Oh, Daddy Yankee.
For what I know of you, you'll be wherever Daddy Yankee is.
See, this is why I keep losing like my thing, because you know me so well. You make me say Daddy Yankee and that's it. The energy shifts. That's it.
Well,
I'm like ridiculously happy now.
That's all my 12th house. But anyway, so what I'd like to do is share with people, and I'll talk about yours too, because that's fun. The gift. So the day you're born, so like you're born on the 27th, that number will tell you some of the gifts that you came in with. Okay. So I'll start with you. Maybe we'll start with 9 and then go to 1, because 9's the end. Why not? Because 27, there's a little bit of math, just a little bit. You could do it. I know you could do it. 27, we're going to reduce everything to a single digit by adding if it's a double digit day that you're born. So you're born on the 27th. So first of all, with you, I'm just going to do this where you're looking at both numbers separately, but then I'll talk about how to add them together. But 2, 7, and 9 are the intuitive numbers. They're very psychic. So of course you're born on a 27 and it adds up to 9. So again, it's like that Y that you have that gift of like psychic ability. Okay. So it's very, as extrovert as you are and as like beautifully connected in that Sagittarian moon way that you have, 2, 7, and 9 are also somewhat introspective. It's all about soul searching. And you're talking about how you're an old soul. 9 is the number of the old soul. Because it's the last of the single digits. So there's a sense of wrapping up some karma when you have a 9 birth date, like anybody out there, if your birth date is the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th, you see how those all reduce to 9? So if you're born on a 9 day, you have the energy of an old soul. You'll love to travel because the thing about the 9, it contains all the numbers. So 9s love to know how we're all connected, how there are these universal themes. It's a very much the universe is wise and loving kind of vibration. So you come in with a certain wisdom when you're born on a 9 day. And it's creative as well. And the thing about the 9, so any one of you who's born on, like I said, the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th, if you're born on one of those days, one of your gifts is to have an inner wisdom that's seasoned over a long time. But the challenge of that is to trust yourself to listen to it. And by doing that, you need to individuate, which means that you can't really do what the crowd is doing. You can't really say, everybody's doing this, so I'll do it too. You have to have the confidence to affirm yourself. You have to have the confidence to give yourself it's the number of compassion, and to give yourself the compassion to trust yourself to be yourself. And by doing that, that's when you can listen to your inner wisdom. How does that feel to you, Nadiya?
Oh my goodness, that's so rich. That is so filled with wisdom, like everything you said. But yeah, that does really sound like me, right?
Yeah,
that sounds so
totally
much like me.
you.
Yeah.
And of course, when you look at a whole birth chart, or we were talking about all the ones and the A's in your name and like the Sagittarius, it all fits together. And this is why I want to teach the numbers and planets together, because you start to see these patterns that people have. They're like, everything in the chart is pointing to this sense of like this older soul who's doing their own thing, who wants to like bring everybody together. Like, you start to see the patterns, and it's just like mind blowing. It makes you really, the reason I love it, it like makes you know that the universe is wise and loving, that there is an intelligence, even though it doesn't feel like it right now. There's an intelligence in the universe. So shall we go through the other numbers now?
Let's do it. 8
Okay.
next. Yeah.
So if you're born on a 1 day, so that's the 1st, the 10th, or the 19th, right? So I'm doing some math for you. So do you see how 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 9 is 10, and that reduces to 1, right? So we talked about the 1 being the individual. Now, your gifts here is that you get all these divine downloads, because like the 1 is like an antenna between spirit and matter, and you're just like all these ideas. And your job is to trust yourself to be the unique individual that you were born to be. A little bit different than the 9. This is more about innovation and independence and trusting yourself to like be the first of something, trusting yourself to do something new. There's a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit with the 1s, and very gifted communicators, because you're getting all these divine downloads. Very important for people born on that 1 day also to ground their energy and to bring their ideas down into the earth and not just swimming around your head. But you're really gifted with a sense of leadership. So trust that, okay? 1 people out there, born on a 1 day. Born on a 2 day, so that's the 20th, the 2, or are there other 2 days? 11. 11's a master number, so it's the higher vibration of that. So you're going to feel this like really amplified. If you're born on a 2 day, you have a gift of diplomacy. You have, because 1 is the self and 2 is other, okay? So there's always this sense of wanting to partner. There's always this sense of wanting to do things with other people. There's always that sense of wanting to find the harmony, cooperation, the balance. There's that like diplomacy in that. And 2s make excellent writers, because it's very much associated with the High Priestess card in the tarot, and that sense of like tuning into the subconscious. But here is the challenge for you. You may be of 2 minds. If you get too codependent, if you're like so other oriented that you get yourself torn apart. So again, it's to tune in and to center yourself, not just in terms of balancing and grounding, but like center yourself in your decision making so that you're not torn into like thinking about everybody else while you're making your decisions. Okay, 2 people? How's that feel so far? And Nadiya, I don't know if you know any 2 people, but people born
I'm trying
on
to think about 2 people in my life, not off the top of my head. I kind of realize right now my brother is a 9. My dad, yeah, he's born on the 18th, so he's a 9. My dad is a 4. My mom is a 8. So I'm sure we'll get to those numbers in a moment.
Yeah.
But
we're going to get to them right now.
Yeah.
And 4 is the emperor. So anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. First, we'll talk about the 3. Oh, I'm so 3 oriented. I just love, I'm born on a 3 day. I'm born on the 21st. I just, all my whole chart is 3, 6, and 9, which are the creative expressive numbers. Go figure. But 3 is the number of creation, because it's like you have 2 people can create a third entity. That's like the miracle of life. That's why we always have this holy trinity. And it's very much about you being a co-creator here on the planet. So this is about learning your creative powers. The thing I love about the 3, it's very much associated with cooperation and fun and joy and words. And in numerology, people with a lot of 3 energy, it's associated with smiling, actually, and very much about like using your words to uplift and inspire others. That's your gift. The thing about the 3, if you're born on the 3rd, 21st, or 30th, is that you're going to feel, because it's a very kind of sensitive energy, you're maybe very self-conscious about your words and self-conscious about, because you can feel, it's kind of empathic, so you can feel what other people are feeling, and so you never want to hurt them, so or you don't want to be hurt or criticized, so you can have trouble expressing your words. So your gift and your challenge is to use your words directly, freeing your voice and using your incredible creative gifts to uplift and inspire yourself and to be kind to yourself and others. So those are the 3 people.
I love it. I will say something as a side note. I know we're just talking about right now for this video, the day of the month you were born, basically, right? So those numbers are going to apply. There are different types of numerologies, as you mentioned. There's like name numerology, life path number. So just as a side note, my life path number is 33. So I've always felt very connected to that 3 number. And it's so interesting that you mention it, because I feel that way exactly, like always very conscious of how I'm using and what I'm saying in terms of my words and language, and taking on a certain ethical responsibility around that as well. Yeah.
It is. 33 is actually more of a very rare life path number, because 11 and 22 are more common, but 33, you have to kind of have a couple master numbers in there usually to get to that number. And it's, you share that with Meryl Streep. So I
like her.
It is really about love, really. The 33, it's using your words to bring more love into the world. That is so you. You. And in a mastery, you have to master it first. So, wow. Okay. That's amazing. Okay. So 4. So we're going to do the 4 people, which includes master number 22, which is the higher vibration of it. You're born on a 4 day, the 22, or the 13th. So 4 is about grounding and structure, and really also teaching and leaving behind a legacy. It's associated with the Emperor card in the tarot. So there's that sense that you want to leave something for progeny. You want to teach something. You want to build structures and foundation. 4 is the number of the father. So if you're born on a 4 day, you really have a gift of bringing order and grounding and structure and that kind of Saturnian energy into the world. And you really want to pass on some knowledge, skills, or wisdom to other people. Oprah's a 4, and she builds schools, like physical structures. So it is also associated with real estate and bones. So I always see people in real estate have a lot of 4 energy in their chart, or chiropractors, because it's the structure of things, right? So you're here to like build structures that help people with security, grounding, foundation, and knowledge. Of course, like Saturn, it's challenged in the fact that there's a lot of restriction and you have to learn how to be like your own. You have to find your authority from within, and you have to learn to work within rigidity and structure as well. But gifts and challenges, right? Okay,
Yeah, it
so
sounds
now we're up
awesome.
to 5. Can I go on?
Yes, please.
5 is the midpoint of the numbers, and 5 is like, it is very erratic. It's like it's here to shake things up. So 5 is associated with groups and media and fun, because it's all about the 5 senses. So if you're born on a 5, a 14, or 23 day, you're here to like bring some levity and shake things up and do things differently and have adventures. And it's like all about diversity and change and experimenting. So if you have a 5 birthday, nobody can tell you what to do. Or a 1, really. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. You want to explore and experience, and you're a bucket list person. But really, there's so many gifts in that, in terms of like communication. And E is the most commonly used letter in the English language, and it's the 5th letter of the alphabet. So it's very much like, if I see a lot of people in media with 23 or 5 or that kind of energy in their charts. So it's very much about group energy and changing the status quo by trying new things. So we love that 5 energy. So now we're at the 6. If you're born on a 6 day, which is 6, 15, or
24.
24, exactly. I knew there was another one. Yeah. Thanks. I see how good you are at this. If you're born on a 6 day, 6 is the number of the heart, and it's about having heart and listening to your heart. 6, the sacred geometry of it, shaped like a pregnant person, is very much associated with parenting, nurturing, caring for everyone. It's very Cancerian that way. And so if you're born on a 6 day, you have this quality where everyone's going to come to you for advice. Everyone's always going to come to you for like guidance or wisdom or advice. It's also very creative and expressive. They always need to nurture, right? So that's a gift and a challenge. If you always like sometimes people don't want it. Or sometimes you could be a martyr and take on things that, again, also 6 is very sensitive to criticism. So you can tend to be like a perfectionist because you don't want to disappoint other people. So you also need to be mindful that you're not taking on too much or trying to be too perfect for everyone else. But it's this loving, very beautiful, nurturing energy that you're gifted with if you're born on one of those 6 days. So we're almost at the end here. So 7 is very introspective. 7 is the researcher. 7 is the mystic. 7 is the one that feels like they're from outer space. And if you're born on a 7 day, so that's the 25th, the 7th, or the 16th, then you have a need to be by yourself a lot, because you are so connected to something really otherworldly. They really need to be around water as well. You're connected to this mysticism, that sense of mystery. And so they make great researchers, because they're always about going into the truth of what's at the center of this. What's at the truth of this? So they make great mystics and scientists, right? We happen to be metaphysicians, right? We're both. The gift in that, obviously, is that you can see what other people can't see. You can see beyond what's presented to you. But it can feel very strange and lonely sometimes, right? Because you're like, am I from here? What is going on? Why am I the only one seeing this? So it could feel a little bit like that. And if you're born on a 7 day, you need to take your alone time to process your many intuitive insights that you're receiving. So we're going to move on to 8 here, and we already discussed 9, so we're almost there. So if you're born on an 8 day, 8, 17, or 26, I'm getting good at this. Then 8, of course, is the infinity symbol on its side. So there's that sense of abundance and expansion. There's some, I'm sure like we've seen with astrology where it's just like, I can't, like people just like oversimplify things to the point where you just want to like, are you kidding me? So everyone's like, oh, 8 is all about money. 8 it means you are here to learn to manage things of importance, status, power, and money. Okay. So you are here. You have a gift of seeing the big picture, handling a lot of things like that, anything like big, right? You're the one looking at things like kind of Capricornian in that way, right? So looking at things from like the big picture and managing large things. We see a lot of like managers and CEOs and things like with this 8 gift of energy. But of course, with great power comes great responsibility. Right? And you may come into this life with some fears about having so much status power. So your lessons are all around status, power, money. And my advice to you is be comfortable with it because you're here. You can't get away from it. You might as well embrace it. Okay. Power is good in the right hands. And we want power. We want the good people to have the power in the world. Right? So anyway, I hope that you all got something out of this and you know about some of your inherent gifts.
Kari Samuels is a pro. As you guys can see, she is a pro. She is ready. She makes things easy for me. All I got to do is sit back and relax. And, she's just taking over the show. And I absolutely love it. I have loved watching you shine, Kari. So once again, everybody, Kari is coming to Synchronicity University as part of the January 2024 speaker series, where you've got just a little time left from the time that this interview publishes to choose your tuition rate. As low as just $5 a class, an unheard of rate to learn from Kari Samuels. I have a feeling you're going to be seeing Kari Samuels again, not just in January, but I have a very good feeling that we will because she is just so brilliant. Yes, I'm envisioning it already. I'm already putting out the feelers there, Kari. You're so good. Oh my God, I learned so much. I adore you. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. This is an honor to be here with you. I'm so happy to be here with you. So thank you.
And your happiness has really rubbed off on me because I have been ridiculously happy. This is like the first time we've ever interacted really like this. I mean, other than the little bits online. And wow, you brought this amazing energy. Instantly, I was happy to know you. And I'm really excited to see your talk, where there's going to be that happiness energy that you bring, the positive energy, but then, oh my God, you know so much. It's going to be wonderful. Thank you for this moment with you as well.
Thank you. I'm really excited. And I just love sharing this because I really know that once you understand how planned your life was before you were born and the magic in every letter and every number of every aspect of your life, you'll start to see the synchronicities, and it's so much fun to share it with you and everyone. So I'm thrilled.
Me too. I'm so thrilled. Kari, thank you again. And thank you everybody out there for watching. Until we connect again, take care. Bye.